Number 1. The phone call. I used to live alone in a small house. One night, when I was watching a movie on Netflix in the living room, I received a call on my phone from this number I have never seen before. The number was about 20 digits long, and the number code was not from where I lived. Before I could answer, the caller hung up, and I thought, no big deal. So I persisted on watching the movie and never thought much of it. Halfway through watching the movie, I received another call from the same number. I paused the movie, and this time I answered, and all I heard was heavy breathing on the line. I said, "Hello? Who is this?" in a half-shaky voice. As soon as I said that, the person hung up. A bit confused, I decided to save that number on my phone and named it as Mystery Man in case the caller phoned again. After I finished watching the movie, it was past midnight, so I decided to go upstairs and into the bathroom to brush my teeth. As I was brushing my teeth, my phone vibrated. It wasn't a phone call, it was a text message from the Mystery Man. It read, "I can see you." At this point, I started to get paranoid, but part of me, for whatever reason, thought it was a prank from a friend, so I had an idea. Once I was finished brushing and went to my bedroom, I decided to use this app where it allowed me to phone somebody where the receiver will see a different number on the caller ID of the caller. I opened the app and phoned the Mystery Man. What happened next made me feel like passing out with absolute fear. As I phoned, a ringtone of the phone started playing under my bed. At this point, I ran out of my room, down the stairs, and out of the door with just my socks on. I hid behind a bush and phoned 911 and told the operator that there was an intruder in my house. They said the cops will arrive in 10 minutes. As I was hiding, I looked up to the window and saw a black figure looking out my bedroom window. I made sure that I ducked low so I wasn't spotted. I peeked again and the figure was gone. The cops finally arrived and checked all over my house. Unfortunately, they didn't find the intruder after a half hour of searching. The cops recommended that I move out, in which I did. I quickly went inside, packed my stuff, and got out of that house that same night. I stayed at a motel that night, and the next morning I got my number changed. I never received phone calls from that mystery man ever again. I don't know who he was, what his intentions were, and why he targeted me, but I'm glad I didn't find out, and I hope I never do. It's been 2 years since that night. I am now married, I live with my wife, and have a baby on the way, living in another city hundreds of miles away. Haven't heard anything from the mystery man. Let's hope that it stays that way. The mystery man, whoever you are, let's not meet. Number 2. I was babysitting and something was in the closet. It was my first babysitting job and last babysitting job with this one particular family. They had one young son, Michael, age 6. He was a pretty quiet kid for the most part and spent a lot of time playing in his room. It was around 8 p.m. that night and Michael met me in the kitchen wanting a snack. He was pretty self-sufficient and had already removed a jar of peanut butter from the pantry. I helped him reach the bread and supervised as he spread the peanut butter on. When he was finished, he asked if he could cut the sandwich in half. He said he only wanted half. He said he was saving the other half for his friend, who was hungry. I didn't argue the fact and simply cut the sandwich and put it on a small plate. He sat quietly eating at the table until his half was finished. He then left the table with the plate in his hand. I watched him with curiosity as he walked down the hallway and entered his bedroom. I waited a minute and then heard him talking to someone, or something, in his room. I peeked through the open doorway and watched as he sat the plate down a few feet in front of the closet door. He then sat down on the floor, facing the closet door, and continued to have a conversation. At this point, I was thoroughly creeped out. I waited outside the doorway for a minute, trying not to be too obvious, worried he might get upset that I had discovered his imaginary friend. And that was when I heard another voice, a whisper, much deeper and raspy on the other side of the closet door. It almost sounded like growling. Michael pushed the plate closer and said, "I made you a sandwich. You can come out now. The babysitter's gone." I felt my entire body erupt with goosebumps. Every hair stood on end. I watched, frozen, as the closet door opened. Something inside reached out, took the plate, and pulled it back inside. The door slammed shut. I stood there frozen, unable to move or scream, as Michael suddenly realized that I was watching from outside the doorway. He said, "I told you he was hungry." Number 3. The woman in my photos. There is a woman in my photos, and I don't know what to do. As you know, Apple's facial recognition software identifies your friends by taking the most reoccurring faces in your photo album. It takes these reoccurring faces and creates albums for you. But I have a problem that has scared me recently. A few weeks ago, a new album was created. A new album with a face I have never seen before. A woman's face, pale, white, and sunken dark eyes. There was no name listed, and I have no idea who she is. I clicked on the album just to see if there was a glitch or some fluke, maybe something on the camera's lens, or the wallpaper of a friend's house somehow lined with this woman's face. But when I looked at the photos in the album, they included every single picture I have been in for the last 10 years or so. I definitely believed this was a glitch now. I was about to back out of the album and delete it when I saw it. The most recent photo I took this morning, right outside the window to my bedroom. There she was, outside the window, right outside the window. She must have been on the roof of the porch, looking in. But it didn't stop there. She was in the picture prior to that. I was on a hike through the woods with my cousin, and there she was, directly behind the tree I was standing next to, peering around it. She couldn't have been there. It wouldn't have been possible. My cousin would have seen her as she was behind where the woman was. She was in the background of every single photo. This was a joke. This was an insanely complex, stupid joke. But then I realized something about the woman in the pictures. She was getting closer in each picture taken. With each picture taken, the woman moved slightly closer to where I was in the photo. The picture farthest back in the album, she was barely noticeable in the background. But now she was only about a foot behind me in the most recent picture. I needed to know. I needed to see if she was really there or if she was just some joke put together in a digital album. I turned the camera of my phone on, looked at myself. A cool chill growing in my spine as my eyes welled up with tears. I was panicked as I looked back at my reflection. There was nothing, no woman, nothing in the image behind me. I took a deep, shaky breath and wiped my eyes. It was stupid to think something would have been there. This was all so stupid. I threw my phone back on the bed beside me and laid down. But then it hit me. She was only in pictures of me. Pictures, I said aloud. My heart racing once more as the fear and adrenaline kicked in. I looked at the phone and picked it up as if it might bite me. I unlocked it and opened the camera app. Each second felt like an eternity, and I was petrified. I sat up on my bed, my hands shaking as I looked at my image on the screen. Then snap. The noise of the phone taking the picture scared me, but not as much as the fierce pinch I felt on my shoulder. I looked behind me, but there was nothing to see. Then I returned my focus to the phone. I opened the images and looked at myself in the new photo. Nothing. Nothing. That couldn't be. What had I felt just then? My shoulder hurt. Then I saw it. My heart dropped, and my breath was gone as I saw the white hand gently grasping my shoulder. The hand was so white, I hadn't seen it against the white shirt at first, but there it was. I ran to the mirror of my room and pulled the collar down far enough to see my shoulder where the picture showed she had touched me. There were 4 distinctive scrapes on my shoulder. I have been avoiding pictures these last few weeks. I am terrified of what she might be able to do if I take another. I don't know what she wants or who I should turn to for help, but the woman in my photo wants something, and I am terrified to find out what that something is.